All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into game number 2 and see where these players will go. We're actually moving over to Entomb Valley, the GSL map and the Blizzard map that has been used as of late. Let's get there right now and continue this PvZ where Sheth is up 1-0.
Yeah, Sheth took the first game on Belcher Beach. He played a really nice game. Socke taking a little bit of a gamble, and in the end he was punished for it. Now he starts at the bottom left of the map. We have him in the red color once again, and it's actually just a little bit of trivia. It's surprising to me that he chose red as his color, because usually the one thing that is very consistent within Socke's play is that he will always go for the light blue color every single time. He actually had fights with other players when they were in the lobby about who is going to be able to pick the color. So him settling for red is a little bit surprising to me. But that just as a side note, we have his opponent, we have Sheth at the top left, and he is starting in purple again. So yeah, we have Entombed Valley, and well, Andre, what are your thoughts on Entombed Valley in PvZ?
Okay, I haven't had a lot of experience in PvZ on this map, but let me theorycraft really quickly. It feels like a terrible map for Zerg.
It actually is pretty good for Protoss, as long as Protoss is able to get the third base, which is usually what you don't have any problems doing. So I've casted a couple of PvZs already in the GSL, GSTL and the KSL on this map, and I have to say that I completely agree with you. It's not the best map for Zerg. There's just a very, very easy way for the Protoss player to get a third base, and being on 3 bases is really important for the Protoss. You can get all the tech that you need, and you can try, or at least you can go for this maxed out army, which is usually very hard to beat for Zerg. And one of the things that I still think is a little bit curious is that a lot of Zerg players tend to transition into Ultralists in the later stage of the game, and that's a decision that I really hate, because I think it's completely wrong. At this point in time, you usually have 4 bases for the Protoss player, and what you try to do is you try to take down the third base, because you know that getting into the main base or to the third or the second is really hard for you. So you try to attack the fourth, but the fourth is in a location where you have very, very small areas, and they can be defended by Protoss very easily with, for example, Storms, where you have Archons at the front, you have Colossi in the back, and Ultralists just tend to clump up and not really attack. So this is like really, really weird, and I've seen so many Zerg players die with their Ultralist composition against Protoss. So I'm really curious to see if we end up having a late game, if Sheth is going for kind of an Ultralist transition, or if he tries to make use of Broodlords and Infestors. That would actually be the choice that I would prefer on Entombed Valley.
Alright, well said, Khaldor. One thing I do want to mention is ZVP on this map in particular. I think Zergling Roaches are much weaker in general, but as I said, Zerglings are going to get across here. The main reason is, as you said, at that fourth, there's not a lot of area that you can actually move around, so I think sentries are really strong in the map, like in Entombed Valley. But what does Socke do to actually deal with this? He's chrono boosting out a Zealot right now, and that should be able to just parry these 4 Zerglings pretty nicely. In the meantime, a couple of probes are going to come out here. Does he get any probe kills? No. Close.
Nice micro by Socke.
Very nice.
Well done so far. Yeah, he is a former Brood War player, and he plays really, really good. It's actually really interesting. The one thing that I really love about the German community when it comes down to the players themselves is that they all get along very, very, very well. And I know that Socke, for example, is talking a lot with players like Hazops. They are always talking about new strategies, about new developments in the game, how they can counter the latest strategies of Zerg on a specific map. And they always help each other out and try to open up new ways of thinking to their fellow Protoss players. And this is something really, really great, especially because you have just so many things that the one player might not see. Hazops has a Warcraft 3 background, so he has a completely different way of thinking in a lot of matches. That's something that we realized when we were at the in Liverpool with Socke and Hazops. We talked about a couple of things about StarCraft in general. And Socke, being a former Brood War player, has sometimes a really completely different view on on things than Hazobs and I did, because we had the Warcraft 3 background and a different approach into a couple of problems. And it was really, really interesting to note, and that's why it's really great to have all those opinions just flow together in order to just finalize their style a bit.
Yeah, it's cool to see so much national pride within Germany too. I mean, I've known that for a very long time, that Germany always like they're super together with a lot of strategies. You see actually a lot of the same styles coming out from all of them. And I think that's exactly for what you said. I mean, they're so close, they always talk, and that's one of the most powerful ways to actually get better at this game. You talk, and that communication, it makes it like, instead of thinking as 1, you're thinking as 4, thinking as 7, and whatever it might be. And you can see that's why Socke and Hasselabs and Khaldor are, you know, consistently at the top of the StarCraft universe.
Yeah, exactly. Khaldor the player. Not gonna happen in this life, I think.
Dude, I gave you a sick plug right there, right? Take it.
Yeah, you did. I should have just shut up and be like, yeah, you're so right, you're so right. I'll be the up and coming Zerg player for Germany. I actually think that's going to be X-Lot. But yeah.
You're just, you're secret. You told me, I'm sorry to actually tell this to everybody, you told me you were secretly training and you're ready to just showcase your skills one day. One day you're just going to come to an MLG, people will be like, oh, Khaldor.
I told you it was a secret.
Khaldor, you're casting here? No, I'm playing. Give me Naniwa and Nest. I'll show you how to drone rush.
I could actually take Naniwa. I would just threaten him and tell him, okay, listen up, buddy. If you don't 7 probe rush me, then I'll beat you later.
Yeah, Naniwa is like a teddy bear, man. That guy in real life, he's like the biggest teddy bear ever. He is like the least confrontational person in the world.
Naniwa is awesome. I really love him. He's a great guy, and he's oftentimes just misunderstood. And he... let's just not get into this, but I feel like you just completely misunderstand Naniwa. He is a little bit rough around the edges, yeah, but he's a really, really nice guy. He comes across a lot different on the internet than he does in real life.
Exactly. I love. You
have to know how to take him.
All right, so Socke is actually taking the coolest route ever. He knows exactly where that Overlord is, so he's actually dodging it completely. You can see this one Warp Prism might be doing a lot of damage here. Now, Socke did risk a lot for this particular engagement. And we can see Socke habitually does like weird builds. You already see a Templar Archives is coming out, so we're going to see something. Blink Stalker as well, wow.
There's the drop. It's a little bit too late. The Queens are already ready in position. Is he dropping? Yes, he is. And now where are the force fields? He needs to block the... He blocks the Zerglings, but not all of them. The last force field a little bit too late. And he's just getting out with the Warpers with only 19 HP. It was a close call. Yeah,
3 Zealots just chilling on the creep. Ain't no thing. They're going to get cleaned up though, so it is a thing.
And he saw the 3rd base, so at least he spotted the 3rd base. He knows that it's coming. At the same time, Socke still has the destructible rocks connecting in the small gap between the natural and the 3rd base, so he didn't take the 3rd just yet. And the one thing that I really like is that Socke went straight for the Templar tech, so he has a robotics facility for the Observer and also for the Warp Prism, but at the same time he started with the Templar tech because he knows he needs the Twilight Council for the Blink in case there are Mutalisks, and now he can just go straight for the Templars. I really like it, and I think that Socke will try to expand very, very soon.
Yeah, let's check what he actually does here, because it is kind of just all over the place, I feel like, for Socke. I mean, just going for the Blink and then go so high Templar heavy. I'm wondering what he's actually going to do with that Blink Stalker. Whether it's just going to be like Mind Games, or whether it's actually, you know, committing to something in particular. And now a Robotics Bay going down. So he's going to Colossus. This is absolutely insane.
I think that he's just now adding the robotics bay because that's the point when he wants to go for the 3rd base, and he's just trying to kill the destructible rocks right now. So he's on 2 bases. He has the upgrades that he needs to deal with the Mutalisks. He has the upgrades that he needs to defend his ramps. He has Storm. He has everything that he needs, and now he can take the 3rd. As soon as he has the 3rd, he will be able to get his Colossi. He already has a very, very nice probe count. He's on 67, and he will still add more probes. So he's a little bit oversaturated, but he will transfer probes over to his 3rd, and as soon as he is able to secure his 3 bases, he can max out his army and attack, but he needs to take care of those Zerglings. The Zergling streaming in now, trying to take down the pylons, and here come the +1 Zealots, and of course backed up by his opponents. Yeah, but backed up by the Storm as well, and finally killing the one Zergling. Nice Storm, and killing most of the Zerglings already. Socke didn't lose anything here, and he's ahead in supply, which is impressive, and now just trying to get his third. And then Sheth is already on Hive, by the way, going for Adrenal Glands, +2/+2, and Spire.
Yeah, and what does he actually do with this? Looks like, of course, the Spire tech going to be to defend against that Colossus tech that we will see momentarily. I do like that read that Sheth is actually making. I don't think he actually got into the base. No, he did not. But he knows his opponent is capable of Colossus at this point. Along with that, he sees the High Templar count, so he's like, okay, my opponent doesn't really need to make any more High Templars, so what is he going to be spending his gas in? Probably Colossus. So just getting that Spire just in case is a good decision in my opinion. But right now, the army composition of Sheth isn't too great. Just mass Zerglings right now. He does have all of his development into those Zerglings. Of course, 2-2 almost finished, but with things like Storm that negate the upgrades, Sheth is going to have to come up with something quick. There's the Greater Spire. Look at that. And he gets another Spire.
Yeah,
so he's going wow.
Just going for the double upgrades, and Greater Spire, I like it. I've been going on about it, that I don't like the Ultalisk choice. And he's going for the Broodlords. He's adding a fourth and a fifth base now, just because he knows he can. And Socke is just in this position that I mentioned when we talked about the map in general earlier. He's in a position where he's on 3 bases. He is able to push out and get his 4th in time. And, well, I'm curious to see what he's going to do. I don't think that he's going to actually attack. And Sheth is relying on Zerglings because he wants to try to just go for some run-bys as soon as his opponent starts to move out. I don't think that Socke is really trying to apply pressure before he starts his 4th base and is maxed out with his army. He's just getting more upgrades, and he's even now adding the Stargate so that he can get the mothership, and that's a very, very good choice for Socke. And Sheth is still on 140 supply against 150, so this is brilliant for Socke. This is such a great position to be in. He's ahead in supply. He still has minerals and gas bunked up a bit, and usually at this point you are way behind in supply if you're a Protoss player. But he's on 3 bases now. He's able to take a 4th very, very soon. I like Sheth's decisions to borrow Zerglings at the potential expansions of his opponent, though. I really like it, but I'm not quite sure if it's going to accumulate to anything in the later stages.
So Socke is actually really well equipped for a mass ground army, but at this point the Broodlords are going to be the main force that's going to be so difficult to actually defend against, especially with the combination of the Infestors. How does he actually deal with it? So it's going to be Blink Stalkers to actually keep him safe. What Socke wants to do is just gun for that mothership. If he can get the mothership out, he'll be able to deal with the Broodlords a lot easier. And we do see a drop all the way in the top right-hand corner where Zealots will be warped in, and he should just sack these Zealots, in my opinion, and go straight for this hatchery. He should just, you know, beeline for it.
The one thing that I like, by the way, as Sheth is now just streaming in with his Infestors and trying to take down the War Prism, is that we have an expansion. Oh, nice feedback. We have an expansion at the bottom right, so Sheth is trying to be sneaky now and trying to scatter his expansion all across the map. That's a decision that I really, really like. I don't feel like Socke is in a position where he's going to scout this expansion earlier. So that's a very, very nice move by Sheth. And Socke now is on +3 attack upgrade. He's starting to get his shield upgrades. I'm a little bit surprised that we don't see him double upgrading, but he is building the mothership now after completing the fleet beacon. So this is exactly what you want as a Protoss player. It is just, this game is going very, very well for Socke.
Yeah, I love Archons though. Archons are going to be really important. You can see that he's up to 8 gas now. Not 8 gas. 8 gas, 4 base. That makes
Look at the production tab. 2 War Prisms at a time. I think I've never seen that before.
Now, basically what Socke wants to do from here is just trade his Zealots for Archons. If he trades his Zealots for Archons, it's basically a big win for him. But obviously you produce more minerals than you do gas, so it's basically saying I need to waste a little bit of time here. Let's go ahead and use these things like War Prisms, like Zealots, go attack with it, and then just wait until my gas composition builds up. Therefore I have I've stopped you from actually attacking me. At the same time I've built on my army composition, so it works both ways.
Here comes Sheth, by the way. We have Sheth moving out now with 10 Broodlords, with Corruptors as well. A ton of Infestors, 8 of them. And the Mothership is not done just yet. Socke is now researching Charge, so that's the one upgrade that he didn't have so far. Army Supply is in favor of Socke with 127 to 116. And Sheth trying to attack this fourth. There are a lot of Photon Cannons. He's adding even more cannons. Socke can afford them, and here come the Broodlords going in, trying to do some damage. The cannons delay the push a bit. We don't have the Mothership just yet. It's going to be there very, very soon. There it is. And now we have Storms. We have the Colossi in the back. There's going to be a pretty cool engagement.
It's going to be so hard for Socke to actually go on because he can't get... I mean, his Mothership is still so far behind. If anything, he can just force the defense and force his opponent to back up because he doesn't really have any detection over here. Nice Storms going on the Broodlords. Look at them. They're already badly injured, so they definitely need to back up from here. Mothership is going to get in and save the day. Meanwhile, there's Harass in the top right-hand corner, and these Zealots are working on these drones.
And we have more Broodlords being off now, 7 additional. This will put him to a roughly 17 Broodlords in just a few seconds. Will there be the Vortex? He doesn't have the energy just yet. It will take a while. Nice bundles by Sheth. Very well done. And all those Broodlings, he just can't blink forward. Socke under a lot of pressure here. Still on 160 supply against 160, but he doesn't have the Vortex, and he has a really hard time fighting against his opponent's army composition. The warp gate technology helps quite a lot. The mechanics, he can't just warp in so many units. There's finally the Vortex, and he's moving in with the Archons. Will it be enough though? Yep,
blinks forward, takes out the Infestors. That's really important. The Colossus are able to take them out. He wants to take out these Broodlords before the other units pop. There they go, and look at that. Just a couple of fires from those Archons. Eliminates all of those units. Great job by Socke. And now the Broodlord count has dwindled. We can see 97 supply to 161. Socke is pulling ahead in that with just in the nick of time with that War Prism play and the, the Mothership play. And now the War Prisms are doing so much damage. You can see this Harass is just relentless.
It was a nice timing by Sheth. He was there before the Mothership was in the game and before the energy for the Vortex was ready. But in the end, the Vortex changes the course of the battle. We have the Archons entering, and of course the Archentile destroys most of the units. But it was also a nice blink in by Socke, who tried to take down not only the Infestors but also the Broodlords. So that was really well done. And Socke now trying to attack with a bunch of Zealots. He already has 2 shield upgrades. No armor upgrades, but +3 attack as well. Doing a good job. And the base at the bottom right, it is already dead. It had been scouted by Socke during the major engagement, so he is just all over the place. And I have to give it to Socke. Even though Entombed Valley is a good map for Protoss and tough to play for Zerg, he did very well so far.
I do want to mention Socke is doing something so interesting. He upgraded no armor. If you look on all of his units, he's just gone for shields and attack. And doing this, obviously, it's basically saying I'm not going to be taking a lot of damage in my internal. He's just trying to make sure that his units live the longest possible. Of course,
it helps him a lot with the Archons as well.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I mean, Archons normally don't have this luxury of the two armor that they have right now. Obviously, the regular armor upgrade doesn't really help too much, but goodbye Infestors.
Exactly, spotting the Infestors and taking every single one of them down. This was one of the moves, one of the cutesy moves that Sheth tried to pull in order to come back into this game, just trying to pull off a Destiny, crawling in with Infestors and then killing the economy of his opponent. But Socke saw it, Socke killed them, and this is another blow to Sheth. And once again, we have Socke being maxed out on 200 supply with 130 army supply against 60, so it won't be long before he starts to move out. He's still harassing his opponent with a Warp Prism, doing some damage at the 4th base, and once again going in, he has the upgrade, the speed upgrade for the Warp Prism as well. That thing is just so fast.
Yep, but it finally gets fungal growth, and there it goes down. The one Zealot over here is just chilling out, but here comes Socke, and he's not actually committing with his Mothership. It's all the way back at home, building up energy. I like that, because you can always recall back.
Exactly. he can use the recall, and this is just so annoying. Just imagine Socke pushing forward, trying to take down a base. He can just focus the hatchery, and as soon as there's the army of Sheth with fungling everything and trying to take on the army, Socke just recalls, kills the hatchery, and is out of there.
That basically means that this Protoss army can never overextend. That's like the coolest feeling in the world. Because this is a pretty heavy Colossus army, and you can run into very bad situations and lose all of your gas in that army. That's crippling, actually. But that recall enables him to do whatever he wants. He can go attack until his zealots die, recall, and then remax, replacing those zealots. Again, what we were talking about before, replacing the zealots with gas units, whether it be Stalkers, Archons, High Templars, or Colossus.
And we have now again another run by with the zealots for Socke to the left while he's attacking with his main army. He plays it super safe. He is taking another base to the right side of the map, and I really like the choice of Socke now. He does not want to lose this game. He's playing it super safe. He's attacking it 2 times at once. He's happy to trade armies now, trying to deny a couple of expansions for his opponent, taking the 3rd upgrade for shields. He has an armor upgrade as well.
Oh man.
Beautiful vortex. What else is
he
there
double
to say?
vortexes though. I think obviously that's a misplay.
Yeah, I think so.
Vortex? I think it was a double vortex because he's down to 0 energy, so that would make a lot of sense. He's just going to get in here, probably kill this one expansion, but he is getting fungled quite a bit. There's the storms that go down. And
killing most of the infestors, yeah. And he's in a position on top of the ramp where he can take down the hatchery and attack everything that tries to come up this ramp. So very nice position for Socke once again. Even though he's losing a little bit of supply, he already has 3,000 minerals and gas banked up, so he can just warp in another army within seconds.
Yep, and down goes the mothership. He's going to remake that ASAP, but for now, the Broodlords don't really have a counter in this army, so he has to back up. Additional
and there come the reinforcements. We have Stalkers now so that he can save his Colossi. The Stalkers target down the Corruptors, and Sheth, in total, he already lost 30,000 resources against 22,000 for Socke. So much more cost-efficient trades for Socke so far. And yeah, he's once again in the lead in supply. He has to wait for another round of warp-ins being ready. But getting the +3 armor upgrade now as well. +2, that is, sorry.
Yeah, and what could Socke, or excuse me, what could Sheth have done in this situation? It feels like, you know, Socke is just completely outplaying his opponent. Now Dark Templars are going to enter the fray, and they're going to be attacking all over the place, causing mass confusion. You can see the drone line is being affected over here at the 3rd or 4th. The 3rd is being affected by a Dark Templar, and we also have the Natural being affected by a Dark Templar as the Roachborn gets sniped. But
the big thing is that if you realize you're up against a mothership and that your opponent is trying to pull off the Arc Control, you need to make sure that as soon as he hits the crucial amount of energy, that you can't just split your Broodlords. It's all about the Broodlords splitting, the splitting of the Infestors as well. It is very hard to accomplish and to try to dodge the Vortex, but I feel that's the only thing that Sheth could have done better. Maybe try to apply a little bit more pressure in the early stage of the game, but it's obviously really hard.
Yeah, and Sheth is just getting handled right now. And there it is. GG comes out from Sheth. Socke going ahead now, so the score is now 1-1 apiece. I have to say, that is the way you play PvZ on Entombed Valley. It made it seem, we were talking about this, Zergling Roaches suck on a map like Entombed Valley. Yes, there are counterattacking options, but in terms of where you're attacking to, it's a lot of times up a ramp in a small little choke or just in a small little choke. And Protoss can just get the best bio, or not best bio ball, best death ball possible, which is High Templars, Colossus, Archons, Mothership. And what can you do from there, right? So going to Broodlord tech seems very reasonable. Sheth did it probably the fastest that he could have in that position, but you can see the Broodlord composition just still was not enough to deal with Socke's force.
It's not an easy map to play as Zerg, and Socke played it very well. I really like what he did there, so that was really well executed. I've seen a couple of Zerg players trying to toy around with the drop ability for the Overlords on Entombed Valley, which kind of worked. It's always a little bit hard to follow it up with some kind of late game strategy, but in the end, Sheth did a very nice attack with a very nice timing. His splits weren't good enough to dodge the Vortex. That's, I think, the one thing that might have been able to save in the game. Maybe even playing a little bit more corruptor heavy and trying to take down the mothership as soon as possible before it had the energy. But once your brood lords or half of your army is in the vortex and there are a couple of archons entering, it's basically GG.
Yeah.
No, not GG, but your army will lose a significant amount of units, and it's going to be really, really hard.
And that's why you said at the end it was what, 30,000 resources to 22,000 resources, and 8,000 difference in just resources for losing, actually, for the Zerg. So the Zerg lost 8,000 more resources in their army or in whatever against the Protoss. So that just shows you the cost efficiency of that vortex. I think that had mostly to do with it. And from there, Protoss could basically do anything. We saw Socke went for the additional expansions. It just did that really annoying pressure with Dark Templars, Zealots all over the place. That's so frustrating to deal with. And if you don't have static defense set up for that, it's almost impossible to actually take no damage.
Yeah, indeed it is. So we have the series at 1-1, and this is all we could hope for up to now. So I think we are going to jump right into the third game after a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. This is the NASL Sunday Show match.